Hello children, do you remember what we have learned in the first session? Yes, it was about the first stage of seagull learning how to fly. The story is about a seagull, how to overcome their fear and move forward. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. When he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was a long way down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. So he hid himself in a hole under the ledge. Even his brothers and sisters, whose wings were far shorter than his own, flapped their wings and flew away. His father and mother were scolding him and threatening him to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But he could not move. These are the things we have seen in the last section. Come, children, we will see what happens next. He then trotted back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other, his long grey legs stepping daintily, trying to find some means of reaching his parents without having to fly. But on each side of him, the ledge ended in a sheer fall of precipice to the sea beneath, and between him and his parents there was a deep, wide crack. So he was moving here and there to reach his parents. He was trying to move away from that place and to reach their parents. But he was surrounded by the steep side of a cliff, and the sea was beneath him. Surely he could not reach them without flying, if he could only move northwards along the cliff face. But then, on what could he walk? There was no ledge, and he was not a fly. And above him, he could see nothing. The precipice was sheer, and the top of it was perhaps further away than the sea beneath him. Though he could reach them without flying, he was not ready to soar, because there was no ledge for him to walk. So he stopped there and started to think, what could he have done? He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge, and standing on one leg, with the other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. Still, they took no notice of him. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau, dozing, with their heads sunk into their necks. His father was preening the feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. He reached the brink of the ledge, and by standing in one leg, he pretended to be fast asleep. He was trying to pretend that he was fast asleep, but his father, mother, brothers and sister did not bother about him at all. Only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore a piece of fish that lay at her feet, and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way, and scraping his beak now and again to wet it. He uttered a low cackle. His mother cackled too, looked at him. So his mother was standing on top of a plateau and looking at the seagull, what he was doing. She was eating a piece of fish. The sight of the food maddened the seagull. He started to cackle. Then what happened? Shall we go and see what he tries to do? What the seagull was trying to do next? What was his next plan? Ga, 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 he cried, begging her to bring him over some food. Galulu, she screamed back mockingly, but he kept calling plaintively. and after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, abreast of the ledge, she halted, her legs hanging limp, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his back. So what was he doing? He started to beg his mother. He was begging his mother to bring food. So he kept calling her in a sad tone. Then only he could attract his mother's attention. His mother also brought the food. When she came near him, when he tried to catch the food, she halted then and there without any motion. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. And then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into the space. His mother swooped upwards. As he passed beneath her, he heard the swish of her wings. So what happened? Maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. Then he fell downwards in the fish. Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a moment. The next moment, he felt wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. At once, he felt terror in his mind. He couldn't hear anything. Then he felt his wings were spreading outwards. He could feel the air through his wings. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards, and he was no longer afraid of it. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once again and he soared upwards. What did he do next? He started to fly away. Then he understood he could fly away in the high sky. He uttered a joyous scream and flapped them again. He soared high. He raised his breast and banged against the wind. Ga, ga, ga. And his mother swept past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Then his father flew over him screaming. Then he saw his two brothers and sister flying around him, soaring and diving. He screamed in joy and soared higher and higher. His father, mother, brothers and sister were also flying around him in joy. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commenced to dive and soar, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it. He turned his beak sideways and crowed amusedly. His parents, his brothers and sister had landed on this green floor in front of him. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted by the strange exercise. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. He was floating on it around him. His family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. He made his first flight. So what happened next? He forgot about his fear. He could see the sea below him, and his parents also called him. So he dropped his legs to stand on the water, stand on the sea, green sea. Because of his hunger, he could not fly, just he was floating on the sea. And his family was praising him and feeding him with dogfish. What do you understand by this story, children? The story explains the importance of independence, self-courage, and confidence. We should always dare to do new things rather than overthinking.